This is Carlos Solis, founder and owner of Ridgepoint Medical Pharmacy and the creator of the new Ridgepoint Your Lifestyle RX program. And one of the things I wanted to talk about today is foundation. We've had a whole bunch of teaching moments here at Ridgepoint Medical Pharmacy, and one of the things that I always like to go back on to is the foundation of what we're trying to create here at our business. But our foundation starts with ourselves. You know, I was at a meeting this past weekend in Los Angeles with my friend and mentor, JJ Virgin, and one of the things that she emphasized to the entire group was that she's been in this business for over 25 years, which was the business of fitness and health. And it hasn't been until the last 3 or 4 years, after having all of this experience behind her, that she really started to propel herself in terms of her business. Basically, what she was trying to tell us all is that she had been laying a foundation on purpose for many, many, many years before she reached the level of success that she currently has. And one of the things she was trying to teach us is to shorten the learning curve so that we don't have to wait 25 years like she had to before she could reach the level of success that she currently has. One of my goals here at Ridgepoint Medical Pharmacy for each one of you in this room is, how can I help you shorten your learning curve so that you don't have to wait 20, 30 years before you reach my level of success? Okay, that's an important message. What can I do to help each one of you in this room reach your level of success that you're wanting to achieve in your personal lives? And hopefully part of that process will involve Ridgepoint Medical Pharmacy and the new program, Your Lifestyle RX. We need to do it by what? By getting started. When I looked like this, I was building a foundation. It was a foundation of unhealthiness. It was a foundation of where I was no longer really in tune with what I wanted to achieve in life, and I was in a very frustrated state. I was building a foundation, guys, when I looked like this. It just was not a very favorable foundation. It was a very shaky foundation, and one that obviously wasn't leading me to where I wanted to be in my personal life, as well as my business life. When I decided to change my foundation, which is what you see now, and it's been a gradual process, it's been taking steps on purpose to get to where I'm at today, and it's still going to be an always changing process. It'll always be changing. What I learned through my struggles here will make me see things that I didn't see before. Some of the downfalls that I'm going to experience probably in the next 6 months, because there are going to be some downfalls in terms of some things that didn't work out quite well as I had planned. I have to reflect back on those downfalls and say, okay, what can I learn from this experience? That also applies, guys, to our experiences in our personal lives. What did I do yesterday or the day before that led to a downfall, and what can I learn from the process? I was talking to a dear friend of mine, and she started expressing her anger over an accident that occurred about 5 years ago where she almost lost her life. And she was very, very angry at the fact that the man who was involved in the accident with her suffered no injuries, and she suffered life potentially ending injuries. And she was harboring a lot of anger towards that man and towards the situation of how unfair the situation was. As she and I started talking, and we started bringing up the issues of what did she learn in her journey, she started to realize that it had affected her in very positive ways. That it actually had strengthened her. Her belief in herself and her belief in her family, and how the support of the people who loved her and how they came to her aid when she was dying really made her realize the importance of family and building relationships. And after we started talking a little bit, she said her anger started going away. When she started really reflecting back on all the things that were positive from that learning experience, rather than focusing on how unfair it was that she was here suffering, because she had another surgery just recently. They had to remove her spleen. So 5 years later, when she thought she was doing better, some of the issues that were internal came back to remind her of her previous near-death experience. And it just woke her up again and made her really angry because it brought back all the bad memories. So one of the things in my talking with her, I try to remind her of all the journeys that she went through and what did she benefit from those journeys. And it helped her put into perspective what it was that she learned from all of that. So building momentum. Many of you know I own my own business. How did Carlos Solis, now a pharmacist and also now a health coach, build on what he has? Every single day before I became an owner, I dreamed of becoming a pharmacy owner. And when I would go work at different pharmacies as a relief pharmacist or as possibly as a staff pharmacist for those pharmacies, every single day I showed everybody I went to work for that I was somebody who they would love to have working for them. And every place I went, I treated every single business as if it belonged to me, and how I would do the things that if it had been my business to make sure that I took care of the business for someone else, like I would if it was my own. And so I started building a reputation among my colleagues that this is an up-and-coming pharmacist who would someday be a great partner in a business. It didn't come by accident. Remember? It wasn't because I got lucky. It became a reality for me because what? I took steps on purpose to build that momentum and to build that foundation. So that eventually people believed enough in me that I found some person who said, hey, come be a business owner with me. And I opened up Sam Houston Pharmacy in 1996 as a joint venture with another business partner. And I'm going to tell you all right now, that experience, when I was living the experience as a business partner with someone else, was terrible. I went from being a miserable employee for someone else to becoming a miserable partner in a business now that I could say was part mine. But one of the things that I started learning during the process was, what did this man teach me, this business partner, because of how our relationship was so bad? What did I learn? That essentially I, the minority partner, built the business without the help of my other partner, despite the fact that he had a larger interest in the business than me, and despite the fact that he never once stepped into the pharmacy in the 5 years we were partners to help me at any time in 5 years. Okay? In 5 years, the man never once stepped into the pharmacy to say, you know what, you're not feeling well today, why don't you take a day off? When I had injured my back, for some of you who don't know my story, at one time I was walking with a limp because I had injured my back. I have ruptured vertebrae in my lower back. I was in severe pain for months, which I had to go through a lot of physical rehabilitation to correct the herniated discs and bulging discs that I have. I still currently have, obviously, because I never had surgery done. And there were months and months and months where I was in really a lot of pain, and I would be extremely fatigued after work because standing on your feet with lower back pain, for those of you who have ever hurt your back and then at least have the opportunity to take a day off or two because your back hurt, I couldn't. I was the owner, and I was the one who ran the pharmacy from opening to close for 5 years. And never once did this man offer to come in and help me. Rather than looking at that as an unfair situation, I was determined to continue to do the best that I could despite the challenges that I was experiencing with that relationship with that partner. I could have gotten ugly and sorrowful and bitter about the relationship and let the pharmacy go to hoot because it wasn't worth it. But I had a different vision. My vision was, I'm going to buy this man out and make this pharmacy mine because I'm the one who built it. Now that reality never happened. I did ask him to become a business partner. I mean, to allow me to buy him out as my business partner. And he refused. You know why he refused? Because he was making a lot of money on my hard efforts. In fact, he was making more money as the majority partner than I was, who did all the work. So what I'm trying to paint to you guys is that it's not always what you see when you see me with the success that I currently have. It's how I dealt with the adversity that I experienced during my getting started and building that momentum and then building that framework, right? That framework that said, despite my business partner's flaws and refusing to assist me, I'm going to continue to build what I think is needed for me so that I can continue to move on to greater success. I did ask him to sell me the business. He refused. But by that time, I had built up such a strong relationship with Dr. Grego. For some of you who know who Dr. Grego is, one of my fellow doctors in the area. And it was just coincidental that this doctor was going to be moving from the current location he was at, which was right next to my current pharmacy, and was going to build another office in McAllen, right across the street from where we are today. And he asked me to come with him. So one opportunity was lost, which was to buy out the other pharmacy that I had a business partner with, and a new opportunity opened up for me to open up my own business, 100% my own. Now, the discussion was, do I stay where I'm at, where I already have success, or try to start from scratch at a different location? And I had to make a tough choice. Now, the decision to eventually open up my own pharmacy obviously occurred because I opened up Ridgepoint Medical Pharmacy across the street back in 2001. But I had to ask for help, because I didn't have the money to open up a pharmacy by myself. I had to ask for help from the bank. Now granted, when my business partner decided that he wanted to not have a part in separating ourselves, he said, you know what? Rather than you buy me out, let me buy you out. And when he bought me out, there's a thing in business called goodwill, which is that if someone has done a lot of the work, you give them a little extra for the goodwill of having created this successful venture. And my business partner had no desire in giving me goodwill. He felt that since he brought me into the business, that I should be giving him goodwill, as opposed to him giving me goodwill for buying me out. When I discussed it with my accountant at the time, he says, take what you can. It's not a really good offer, but you're going to have some seed money to open up the business of your dreams. So I took what the business partner offered me, which was not anywhere what I wanted or expected from the 5 years of hard work that I had put into the business. But I took the money and ran. And I opened up Ridgepoint Medical Pharmacy. So working on your foundation is not always easy. Getting started is not always easy. Continuing to build momentum isn't always easy. Building that framework can be excruciatingly hard when you get hit with all these different things that happen in our lives, and then realizing that it's always changing, and that something that you wanted to accomplish stops you from happening. What can you do with that obstacle, and how can you use it as an opportunity for something else? So the lessons to be learned are, where are you in your foundation, and where are you in your getting started in this whole process? One of the things that we discussed yesterday between my accountant and myself was, you want to build your Lifestyle RX, and you want to build your durable medical equipment business. You kind of put an emphasis on one or the other. Guys, we've been working on trying to build a DME business, and it's been a real struggle. What I'm going to share with you this morning is that let's focus on your Lifestyle RX. Let's get that started. Let's get that started. That's not to say that we don't want to continue to work on building our DME business. But let's really get started on your Lifestyle RX. And where can we take that if we work together as a team? Because I think the future, not only of this business, but the future for yourselves and your families, is in your Lifestyle RX. But the core business, both pharmacy and medical equipment, still needs to be there to keep us functional and to keep us viable until your Lifestyle RX continues to grow and start building its own income base. So we got to continue to take care of our core business, but we got to get started on the new part of ourselves. Many of you in this room, and I'm really proud of you guys, have taken some steps to improve your own personal health. But you're not asking me enough questions when I see what some of you guys are doing and how sometimes, despite your hard efforts, you're going backwards in some ways rather than going forwards, because you're not taking the experience that I already have and the learning curve that I've already been through so that you don't have to repeat all my mistakes. The reason why JJ was so emphatic about making sure we listened carefully to her message this past weekend was that we try to learn from her to shorten our learning curve so that we don't go through the 25 years of struggling that she went through. And what I'm messaged this morning is to make sure that you guys don't go through the 20 years of frustrations that I've been through to get to where I'm at. Take those 20 years and do it in 5 or do it in 1. Think big. She made us write down a goal before we left. And my goal for 2013, I'm going to tell y'all, hopefully y'all are ready, is to do $1 million in sales on online marketing through health coaching. Whether it's through selling supplements or selling health coaching programs, which is online, which is why I've been telling everybody, start studying, start learning, find out how you can be a part of that growth process. Does that mean that you may have to do some stuff on your own after work hours, like the boss does? Guys, I had to prepare for what I wanted to share with you this morning. It was done with some selfishness in mind. I didn't prepare everything just because I wanted to be a good presenter this morning. I did it with the selfishness in that I need your all's help. And I wanted to find a good way to get that message out to you guys. That I need your help to get this thing off the ground. You guys can get this off the ground if you help me. I can't do it without you. Let's work on building our foundation. Let's get started. Let's keep building that momentum every single day, even despite our struggles. Let's build a framework of success by studying and listening to those around us who already have achieved a level of success greater than what you have. And learn from what they have learned. And don't repeat some of their mistakes. And lastly, remember that changes are going to happen. And that some of the things that we're shooting for today will be changed. Some of the things that we're shooting for today will change. Your Lifestyle RX 5 years from now may have a completely different name as I learn more and more with you guys. And that's going to be an evolving process. And that right now online marketing is what I'm shooting for. And that there may be other things that happen between now and the next 5 years that are going to possibly change the course of where we're going with your Lifestyle RX. But we have to do something. We have to get started. That's my message for today. Let's get started.